called lots of stuff. Yeah, I've done a lot of deed. I've had it rough and tough. You know I've smoked a lot of weed. Mellow, don't you know? Well, I've learned a thing or two, like when and where I should go to, what I should or shouldn't do. I've been left alone, no company, but that's alright with me, 'cause I'm big and ugly. I'm big and ugly. I'd like to let it grow, you know I'm talking about my beard. I'll have you all know that I know sometimes it might look weird, but I got a friend upstairs whom I'll keep confiding in. I know he's there 'cause when I knock he always lets me in. Brings me peace with what it is and what is not for me. To accept what I see, they're looking back at me as big and ugly. Big and ugly. I could have been small and cute and play a flute like a dream, or sing like an angel, maybe play ukulele. But I got to work with my hands and keep dragging it along, banging on that old guitar. Sometimes I'll write a song. I lose a few friends, so it seems I got no enemies. What you get is what you see, that's how it is with me, 'cause I'm big and ugly. I'm big and ugly. Big and ugly.
Hey guys, we're back. Welcome to the Big Uglies. I'm your host Josh Denny. With me, as always, as you can see, the one and only Mr. Big Spit, Carl Spitali.
What's poppin'?
Oh, not much, man. How you doing?
All right.
You look very fresh, very tight.
Yeah, it's very tight. I had a good shit, so that like changes your mood sometimes, you know.
Does it?
You're talking like to somebody like a good shit. Just
I don't know that
mood.
Yeah, I don't know that I've had one of those in quite some time.
You're just like, yeah.
You know, like one of those. For me, a good shit is one of those where I go like, I can't believe that came out of me. Like where you're just like, my God, you know what I mean? Like where you're just
I've actually never had one of those because I'm not surprised by what comes out of me.
All right.
I'll be like, oh yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, like
was that a 2-liter bottle?
Yeah, for me, a good shit is one that like Fleece Johnson would call the other boys into the cell to like threaten them. Like that's what's gonna happen if you don't do what I say.
It's open and it's juicy.
Oh God. Little Fleece Johnson shout out. All right, so it's boy.
Speaking of Fleece Johnsons,
yeah, my God, Fleece Johnson. Jesus Christ, how do we even segue that, right? I would love this. Is by the way, this is what people need to be getting this guy's 2 cents on. And if this Fleece Johnson doesn't scare kids like this, young black
There's
kid
no
who
hope.
stabbed a white kid, there's no hope. Yeah, that's what I mean. Like if young black kids are still like, I ain't afraid of prison after all of the Fleece Johnson footage that's on the internet for people to watch, and there's nothing that these young men are going to fear that's going to keep them out of prison.
Dude, did you see that one clip where he was like, "Oh, I seen it all the time. These gangbangers, they come in there and they tough, but you ain't got no gun no more, and you in prison. So you go on and get that fat ass on out." And you're like, "Cause I seen it." Walk around here with that fat ass gangster butt. And you're like, Jesus Christ, I don't ever want to be there.
I know, right? Speaking of getting that ass out, this young man's going to be getting that ass out pretty soon. The news of the week. I don't know if I don't know how many people have seen this, but it's so funny when you see stories like this. You kind of want to be like, "Hey, isn't this startling and shocking and rare?" And no, it's none of those things. It's none of those things. These kids were
He's like, "I did it." Yeah, we know, dude. Like, there's like 100 witnesses.
Yeah, kids at a track meet. Now he's claiming self-defense. The father was like, he's not the aggressor. Listen, man, I don't want to say that I can tell by looking at the picture who the aggressor is, but I can tell by looking at the picture who the aggressor is.
Yeah, it's probably the guy with a knife. It's probably the guy with a knife at a track meet.
Yeah, and I'm just going to go on a limb here and be like, oh, is it this young man who looks 45 and has the dead eyes of a serial killer?
He literally is named Carmelo Anthony.
I know, that's the part that nobody's talking about. You have anything to add to that, or are you just pointing out that he's named after a very famous
basketball player? Know that.
Yeah, what did I say? Baseball?
The area that they live in is
maybe I got confused because this kid already has 3 strikes.
The area that they live in though is like, you have to, like, they're like $1 million homes there. Yeah,
it's like super wealthy neighborhoods. Yeah, I'm sure that in no way has contributed to this whatsoever.
No, it's just one of those things that you can't argue. It's like, obviously there's socioeconomic differences. Like, if I say blacks are inherently violent, right? And you go, that's racist. And then you go and look at any crime and just go, well, obviously there's socioeconomic issues that go in here. And like, you just automatically called the black kid poor for why he stabbed somebody. I think you're way more racist than me.
Yeah,
I think you're way more racist than me. We're just going, well, it's clearly there's probably some socioeconomic issues in there. I was like, oh, the poor black kid stabbed somebody? No, yeah, they're the same economic means. Now what?
Yeah, and well, what I think is so funny too is like, oh, what's the result of the socioeconomic differences? Is like, well, what happens is blacks are so mad that they're poorer than these whites that a rage comes over them that a normal human being would be able to dismiss, and they cannot. Oh, okay. Well, thanks for clearing that up, Negroologist.
So much more racist. Like when I was at the hospital recently visiting, I remember when I was
we
walking
are
past
lagging like a motherfucker today.
Can you see me? We good?
I can see you, but I think we're freezing like crazy. Maybe they let us know in the comments if that's just on my end or if that's visible, because we look like fucking statues. Might have to do a reboot here.
I think I look good as far as latency goes. Let me see. Ooh. Yeah, I feel like I'm on time.
Yeah, it's all choppy on my end. I'm all chopped up.
You can reboot and I'll just give this little anecdote.
Yeah, go ahead. Tell us about the blacks, Carl. I want to do a reboot.
I was just gonna say, walking past a Tesla with and it had a do rag in it, and I remember my mom going, "Oh, you know, it's a Tesla. They have a do rag in there." I go, "Well, they're black." She's like, "Well, they could be working in." That's not true. They could be working in the operating room. I was go, "What you said is way more racist than what I said. You just said that blacks can't be working in the operating room." Like, all I said was they're probably black. It's like this assumption that a reason for black behavior or something you point out has to be because like they have less money than white people, or they have to like, why don't we just start addressing people's behavior? And then and I'll say that I use my mom in a reference. It's definitely like a sort of liberal woman approach, like, no, I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is this. So I pointed out, like, yeah, it's a do-rag and a Tesla. They're black. That's not a racist statement. What was racist was saying, no, they're not black. They probably work in the operating room. That's way more racist. Way more racist to say that what the black people can't be surgeons or work in the OR. Like, get out of town. That's where people don't even notice their own shit. They're too busy calling everyone else racist, or not trying to step on eggshells and shit like that about what is and what isn't racist. And this like fear of being called racist has overwhelmed these people. Literally overwhelmed them. And my shitty headphones. I gotta get this mic hooked up. Can't be doing a fucking pod with these headphones anymore. But that's why they call us the big uglies. It's never pretty over here. Never pretty. Let's check in on the reboot over here. Let's see. We got what's on our agenda? Oh yeah, we're still gonna go on this. The kids in Frisco, Texas, their houses are about $1.2 million for the median house over there. The area that it is um, very well to do, and this was a kid at a track meet who brought a knife, like he was gonna need it. And I just don't think, like, I think it's an open and shut case sometimes. It gathers due process and all this stuff. I was like, why do we even need a trial for this? There's a bunch of people saw this kid murder the other kid in front of them, died in his twin brother's arms. We don't. Oh, here we go.
Yeah, my back. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, that's better. I'm not all frozen now.
I was just saying it's very well-to-do area. It's very and some of these cases, a lot of times, should be. I understand with due process, but most of these are open and shut, and we don't need that. We can just go like, yeah, the kid who brought the knife and murdered somebody at a track meet. Let's just hurry up and send him to jail. And they're going to be like, well, he's 17 or whatever. Try him as an adult, because he made an adult-like decision, like, don't touch me, blah, like, and I just don't understand, like, I don't get the dad, unless he's a better Christian than I am, but the dad immediately being like, this is not
a racial issue.
Yeah, this is a human being thing. The kid made a mistake, and you're like, what?
The father cucking for, the white kid who took my son's life. He's the victim. Ugh. I wish he would have. I wish he would have stabbed the father.
Well, I just hated the number one response I kept seeing was like, especially under Matt Walsh's post about the young black men being violent and all this, and like the reply under the number one reply under that got ratioed to all fuck, was like, maybe that kid would still be alive if his parents would have taught him not to touch other people's stuff.
Oh
And
yeah, I
when they
saw that.
grabbed their backpack and stuff, they
Yeah, I
were
saw
like,
that.
now, how about the black parent telling their kid, don't bring a knife to a track meet and don't stab somebody just because they tell you to do something and you don't wanna.
Well, and what I think is so funny is like the black kid's father is like, my son innocent. That's like, okay, well, first of all, if you know your son, that's already breaking the narrative, right?
He
They
said
just
he
go,
wasn't the aggressor.
yeah,
Huh? The guy with the knife is the aggressor.
yeah. And
Without any, it was like, yeah,
scenario.
they tried to bully him. You go, yeah, really? That's what it was. The black kid named Carmelo with a K at the track meet with a knife was being bullied. Where am I supposed to believe this is some sort of Columbine thing?
Yeah, what I think is funny is how how much the media is trying to like cover this up. Like if you type Carmelo Anthony in spelled correctly, it literally just gives you stuff about the basketball player.
It's what the sad part is that every most mainstream media publications and sites didn't cover the story. You can type on CNN, MSNBC, any leftist thing, even Fox News, that nobody covered it.
Yeah.
Like if it wasn't for X and you are the media now, if it wasn't for that, nobody would even hear about this shit. Because they know, oh God, another one. And like how many times are we gonna see this? The reason that the George Floyd case, all these things are so highly publicized and stuff is because they're fucking rare.
Right.
Whereas these happen every day. And they're like, yeah, of course a 17-year-old black kid stabbed a 17-year-old white kid in the chest and killed him.
For damn near no reason.
Yeah, because you would go, of course he did. And why do I have that? I don't know. Pattern recognition. Like why do I feel this way? It's not really a feel or a belief. It's just changed my mind. Prove me wrong, black people. Where's the Of course, we're not saying all black people are inherently violent. We're saying there's a majority of them. And the fact that you're only 13% of the population responsible for majority of situations like this, there
Well,
needs to be a.
this is the thing that stood out to me in this story is I read this earlier and I wanted to share this, where the father goes, he's a good kid. He works 2 jobs. He's an A student. He has a 3.7 GPA, Andrew Anthony told the Post, which is his father. Okay. So now the question becomes, why is a good black kid who has 2 jobs with a 3.7 GPA carrying a knife around socially and able to murder at the drop of the hat? I don't think people realize that the more you go out of your way to try to prove that this is not what you think it is, the more you prove that black people are inherently and uncontrollably violent. So a good kid who works 2 jobs, who otherwise has never had a problem, just fucking snapped one day and stabbed a kid directly in the heart to death immediately because he was told he was sitting in the wrong seat. You're making a case for every white supremacist out there who's, and I don't even know that it's like white supremacy. It's just noticing. It's just like,
black exhaustion.
Yeah, well, that's a really great thing. I'm not a white supremacist. I just have fucking nigger exhaustion. It's just and what I think is so funny is the amount of white people on Twitter who are just like, well, here we go. Started as a normal everyday white person, and then the internet happened, and now I can't not see it. And they're showing like pictures of Edward Norton, in his first movie, Primal Fear, where he has like, a normal haircut and he seems like a sweet person or whatever. And then it's like phases into him in American History X. And it's like, yeah, that's what's inevitably going to happen in America. The more people try to pretend this isn't a thing.
Yeah, I just think that the Gen Z kids, or I think they're Gen Alpha, whatever. I think they're going to be the most racist kids in 100 years. Like, they are going to be like, we want segregation. They're going to be the ones that are like telling their kids don't associate with them. Like it's going to be bad. And that's 100% from behavior and the lack of like anybody giving a fuck. Like as soon as white kids were like, yeah, they're not letting us in schools. When we apply for colleges, we're doing this and this and this. And they just go, shut up, whitey. You've had your chance in the sun. And be like, yeah, we all have the same sun. it's not like you have the same opportunities as everyone else. And you're mad that they were just the majority of the population that founded this country. And now it's like getting to a point where they're like, we need to even the playing field. It was like, okay, we tried that. And we can't stop you from killing us or ruining shopping malls. Why?
I like how those are the two things.
I like, I used to love malls. And not even the sense of like, fucking, you look around and it's just like, not for just like the retail aspect and like, I was like, dude, malls is where like super American. Like a mall is like, oh, dude, there's a movie theater. There might be a kick-ass mall. It might have a fucking roller coaster or a Ferris wheel in it or some shit. Then there's always pretzels. Can't go wrong with pretzels. Like, where else do you find this all in one place? And then they slowly, all the stores just started moving out because they'd be like, hey, Miss Lady Bitch, how much for this? Well, fuck you then, ho. It's like,
yeah.
All right. Well, no more of this.
I'm trying to figure this out if this is just on my end, but your camera is like all pixelated for some reason. Like horrendously. I just asked the comments if that's the case for anybody else, but you literally look like a fucking Minecraft.
Well,
does it look all right on your end?
Yeah, on my end, it looks fine. Should I leave and come back?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe try that.
Technical difficult.
I know. We're just not having a day today with StreamYard. It has been real shitty. So yeah, I mean, blacks are gonna black, I guess, is what you can say about that. It's I can't even say that it's like an enraging story because it's so fucking common now where, you see these things all the time. I'm just tired of, I get exhausted from people on the internet being like, these little boys, these little babies, like these are men. These are men, like, people go, oh, he's only 17. It's like, well, how old is old enough to know not to murder somebody? I think I knew that when I was, 7, that you can't just hit people or murder them.
You probably know it like age 4.
Okay, there we go. That's better. Much better.
You probably know it like age 4.
Yeah. Yeah, like you don't hit people. Yeah, I mean, like, I would argue more so that people go, oh, it's it's a lack of fathers in the home, which interestingly enough, like this kid obviously knows his father. I don't know whether they live in the same home or not, but it's not that. It's not that. And by the way, I think white people excusing this kind of shit for 30 years now has made it way worse.
Yeah, but there's also I'll say this. White people not having black friends or not being associated with black people enough is why they don't know that black kids are actually taught certain things by their black fathers. Number one, you don't lose to a white kid in a fight or in sports. Okay? That's why in boxing, they know they can market anything as white dude versus black dude, and it's going to sell tickets. In basketball, and he was like, football, you gonna let that white boy do you like that? You don't lose to the white kid, period. And your father teaches you that. Your daddy.
Mm-hmm. If he's around.
You're right. So to act like it's not no dad's ever, it's because there's no father in the home. It's like, well, the father believes some bullshit too, right? And it's inherently this idea that it used to be like, man, we can, like the haves and have-nots, and then it turned into like, man, fuck whitey, they got everything. So here's the thing, you never gonna lose the white motherfucker. I'll beat your ass. You lose that white motherfucker, don't come home because your ass getting beat the fuck up. And like and there's a difference between like my mom hitting me and disciplining me because I was an asshole at the time or acting up or something, and beating your kids because you want them to do something. Like there's a complete difference. And they're like, yeah, they should beat their kids, and be like, I don't think in the way that you think they should beat kids. Like they're like, dude, I saw a video of this black chick with her kids out in front of a storefront trying a security guard. The little black kids are just running around, and she just like ends up like squaring up with the security dude, and he just fucking tasers her, boom, with the gun. Zoom, she just drops. Then everybody's like,
hilarious.
Fuck, you did that, fool. Yeah, do it. It's just like they don't see the consequences before the actions. They'll be like, this will probably happen if you keep going. And they just think like, we didn't even do it. You can watch any arrest video. They ain't even do nothing. Pussy ass cop. Fuck you. It's just like, all right. It's like, for what? For what? For what? If they'll keep repeating the same shit, they're like, and it is culture. At the end of the day, it's culture.
Is it this one from 2018? Hold on, let me see if I can find this. Is it black? It's all black people.
It's out front of a storefront, like, and it's like a body cam view.
Officer tasing a young girl. We've seen the video from
with her kids. And it's a
look at that, TJ.
Well, Julie, let's just get right to it. This is the video from inside that Kennard Avenue.
Oh, cool! It's a different one.
Anisha Gowdy and that officer there, where Officer
and this is a black cop
Brown tased that 11-year-old girl.
Oh, okay.
The night of August 6th.
This is a different one acting up. This is a fun game. So called "Can We Find That Clip?"
Yeah, you just type in "black mom tased." I'm sure there's like 50.
Black mother tased in front of children after being falsely. Oh, thanks, Reddit.
No, it's like in front of a jewelry store or some storefront.
Oh, this is a different one. Wow, there's too many to choose from. Rips black mother out of car.
I can't even see all those, but
yeah. Man, can't find it. It's been scrubbed.
There's just so many.
Anyway.
They have to keep releasing body cam footage. So like that's why they have body cam. They like they should carry body cam so you can see what the problem is. And then they just release a body cam every week of like, this is how fucking terrible y'all are.
Yeah, isn't it funny how they thought like the body cam footage would
save them? Like, justify their actions.
Roll the tape. Well, we've watched the tape and it turns out you're unbearable as a human being.
It's like, honestly, you should be in jail. I don't know how we let that go, but I guess.
Yeah, I actually wish he would have switched to lethal rounds after watching the body cam footage. There's fact that he live, the man should get a Nobel Peace Prize.
There's a couple of them where they just straight up keep hitting the officer over,
like keep slapping or punching him.
Yeah, and they'll just push him, and then all this they'd be like, "Oh hell no, you ain't about to disrespect me like that." And it's just like, what were you doing before that? And all
I do love that when you do black women voices, it automatically turns into Norbit.
Well, most of them are just Respucia. They're all Respucia. They're all just How you did.
I ain't mad at him.
Hey. Speaking of bad black women.
Yeah, well, it's funny. It's like, you know, it's the thing is like, which Africans are going to tear the country down first? The black ones in the streets or the white ones in the Oval Office?
Dude, it's definitely probably Elon.
Yeah, you've flipped on Elon pretty quickly.
Well, I never liked them, but at the same time, dude, what the fuck? This guy has, by the way, he has until like June to like do shit with Doge before he has to like bow out or divest from his companies, because that there's some like legal precedent or whatever that this is be like.
Well, the news has already come out. He's going to step down from Doge.
He has to.
He's not going to divest from his companies. Why would he do that?
It's funny though. I've never seen a Democrat even ask for that. There's not been a single Democrat politician been like, he should divest from his companies then. You're just like,
no, I think AOC called for it immediately when he first started doing Doge shit.
they don't. The reason is because he's doing the NSA's job for them, essentially.
Yeah.
And, driving the snitch cars, around and building the AI. And it's just so like, oh, wow, there's cameras on the top, the sides, and everything else. And there's 1,500 on them on the road in this city alone. It's like they're gathering everything, dude. And when people go like, I think my phone is listening to me. What do you think your Tesla does?
Yeah.
It's like, man,
Yeah,
it's always on.
Don't be jerking off inside of that thing.
It's always on. You ever just, and you're like, you can walk up to it and it just goes, and I'm like, yeah, because it's on. You ever like walk past a Tesla and be like, I think it's running.
Mm-hmm.
It's like somebody, it's like, did they turn that shit off? It's like, it's just
for the 2 months I had one, I felt like it was running the whole time.
It's weird, dude. It's not.
It really doesn't. It really doesn't turn off.
Yeah, that's weird, dude. That's like the laptop camera thing that you gotta like put the
Yeah, I have one in front of mine. I have mine blocked.
It's
Did I tell you there was a period of time when like I'd come to my computer and just like the FaceTime app would be open on my computer.
We lived with a Saigon whore that bitch her nose
off. When I say go, you go. Blah,
yeah,
blah, blah, blah. That was me all the time. That's all you heard from next door.
But overnight, this dude
shut your cake hole, Yoko.
Shut your cake hole, Yoko. This dude destroyed MAGA overnight. And not that I voted for Trump, but I'm not like one of these MAGA sycophants. And like, I didn't want the libs to be right, but it's like, we need to have like a segment that's like, oh no, the libs were right. Right? It's definitely became a cult because no matter what they do, like, actually, it's great that we leaked the plans that we're bombing Yemen. Actually, it's great that our fucking tariffs had no plan and we just fucking started taxing weird islands that don't make shit. It's actually great that this, and the Democrats have been trying for years to get away from being the establishment. And it took this guy 3 months for them to be like, it's actually punk rock and anti-establishment to hate these guys. And now they'll just go right back to the same thing that they were doing. Woke is now punk, right? It's like, it's such a funny fucking thing that this guy could overnight like that, just single-handedly just destroyed. MAGA is dead. After this, that's why the tariffs aren't going how they thought, because everybody's like, this dude's a one-term president now. What the fuck is he gonna do? Fuck this guy. Mm-hmm. He's losing the respect that he would have got if he just didn't have to deal with. And now it's like everybody praising Tesla. Our friend of the show, Eric Avenante, calls it a make Tesla great again, is like what they're trying to do. Every instance you see is just like the Wisconsin thing. Why did he want that guy in Wisconsin to win? Because Wisconsin has the thing where the law about only about car dealerships and not having where you didn't need a fucking middleman as a car dealer, and they would like get that out of the way, where you would just only have manufacturer dealerships and stuff. And you're like, this guy just wants to do this. Like everything is about his companies. And then this makes you go, the libs were right. Like broke clock is right twice a day, but like when you go, nah, he's too rich, he don't give a fuck about that shit. And then you go like, dude, what the fuck is this guy doing?
Yeah, one of the only people you and I said that has sort of been intellectually honest through this whole thing is Dave Smith. And I just wanted to share this clip that somebody posted from his podcast, but it kind of alludes to this a little bit, what we were talking about.
And they were like, they'll probably cheer him on if he launches a war in Iran. And then I saw one guy underneath that said, he goes, I know Dave Smith sure will. And okay, it's just like a comment on Twitter, but I was just like blown away. And I'm not blown away by much, but I was like, does anybody actually thinks I would, just because I'm like, well, I did support this guy, so I'll rationalize and like defend getting in another war in the Middle East? Is that? But just for anyone who may have that, I will say this: if Donald Trump actually does launch a war in Iran, not only will I not support it, I will apologize for the rest of my life for voting for the guy. That undoes any positive that might have come out of this. So just to be clear on that, it would be the most disastrous policy, and I just can't even believe. I mean, maybe that guy didn't even mean it, but I can't believe anyone would think, like, that somehow we're now in the business of just sucking up to Donald Trump. Fuck that. I was as sharp as goddamn critic in his first 4 years. I was a pretty sharp critic for the next 4 years after that. And I supported him this time because it just seemed like in the moment we had two options and one was clearly preferable. But I have no loyalty toward Trump or anyone in his cabinet or anything about the administration. I have loyalty to my principles and my country and my family. But none of that leads towards supporting a war in Iran.
And that is what, by the way, should be every normal person's opinion.
Every normal person should think that. Like, I don't understand.
That way. It's like, I don't want to be in the war with Iran business. I don't care. I listen, if you guys want to sprinkle some nukes over there, I don't give a shit. Take it out.
Yeah.
But this idea that we're going to be boots on the ground at war with anybody. And also, I don't even know how somebody like Trump could campaign for 4 years. No wars, no wars, no wars. And then get in and be like, let's do some wars.
We're going to do a lot of wars, big wars like you've never seen. Like,
what I mean?
Dude, I didn't sign up for this.
It's, I mean, to me, it's like, it would be like if he went in his first time and he's like, I never said anything about a wall. And it's like, excuse me? It's the whole thing he ran on.
He kind of did that, though. Actually, the wall was metaphoric.
He didn't do that. No, he was trying to get the wall built and was working on building the wall. It was, when he was like, Mexico's going to pay for it, I don't think he was very clear about the plan on that. But here's the other thing I don't like when people talk about tariff. Obviously, the point of tariffs is to try to force companies to manufacture and bring things back to the United States. And everyone's saying, well, he's a one-term president, like you said, where there's a very good chance that stuff won't happen during this term. Like, that stuff doesn't happen overnight. Well, there's two things that's wrong with that. Number one, it very much can and does. Like, you can move your manufacturing in less than 6 months. So when people talk about, we can't just uproot, it's like, yeah, you can. You can do it immediately if you want to.
Actually, you can if you wanted to.
It's like, it's not like there aren't facilities here that you can lease. It's not like there's a shortage of manufacturing facilities in Los Angeles.
All over this town, I was going to say.
You drive out to Ontario, there's like probably 500 turnkey manufacturing facilities for medium to large businesses that are available to lease today. That's all they're building out there.
And the only reason they're not here is the reason that fucking Mars Volta over there left here and went to Texas is because of bullshit regulation
and taxes and taxation.
Yeah, and taxation. So, like, I get it on that perspective, but I mean, iRobot over here, like, his cars is going to snitch on you. He said there's going to be a legion of these Optimus bots or whatever they're called, the robots. Tesla robots. I'm like, dog, we've seen all these movies. Dog. Like, what? No.
Yeah.
How about no, Scott?
Yeah.
And then, like, the other thing is, like, we're going to be colonizing Mars and going to Mars. How about you send yourself to Mars, nigga? Why don't you go, okay? Then you tell us how it is from the future, buddy. Huh? You tell us how the Mars is. We want a message from when you're there.
Yeah.
Like, he don't test none of his own shit, right? He's just like a bunch of nameless, faceless dork scientists are testing stuff. And like, dude, he's like, we're like all waiting for like the next Challenger mission, but involving Elon. And as much as it sucks to say that, it's like, it feels like that's what we're all like looking at. We're like, when is this guy going to launch himself to Mars and blow up?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I'm not jumping on the Elon hate train as quickly as you are. I just think it's I think the guy's trying to do good things. But yeah, do I think there's potentially, he himself went on Rogan many times and talked about like the dangers of the future of AI, and then is like, but full speed ahead kind of a thing of just like, but we are going to try to figure out how to transport human consciousness into machines. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
I think he's like one of the Egans in Severance. Like he's like, and I've sired many a children, and I never loved any of them. Right? You're just like, this is so him, dude.
Yeah, I definitely think. Well, it's funny too because people are like, "Oh, he has Messiah complex," and I go, "Yeah, but isn't that kind of what you want from your billionaires?" Like, I'd rather somebody want to try to save humanity. The question is like, is he Ozymandias? Where he's just like, the best way to save humanity is to destroy it, let it destroy itself, and then rebuild something in its place. That could be, that's the mindset you don't want your billionaire genius, Messiah complex people to have.
That's the Masada complex. That's the, the goys will destroy themselves, and then we will bring them into the light. I mean,
is that really what they think?
Yeah.
Doesn't it just feel? Do you ever just think though that that's just too easy of a reach to be like the Jews again all the time?
Are you asking me, or are you saying their belief system?
No, I mean, it just feels lazy. It just feels intellectually lazy to be like, yeah, Jews.
No, I just meant like that. They really have that like Messiah complex. That's why they didn't believe that Jesus was the Messiah and had him killed, because that whole we have to save them, bring people to the light and stuff. That's a real thing.
Okay, elaborate.
I did. That's
I'm just saying. Go on.
So when you said like, isn't that what you want for your billionaires? Or what, the Mossad complex? No, I don't.
No,
I don't.
Messiah, not Mossad.
I know, and I made a joke and said Masada.
Oh, okay.
Where they're doing covert activities to bring countries to destabilization so that they can come in and save them.
Yeah, I don't ever see Jews trying to save anybody other than themselves in Israel.
Yeah, well, if they believe that if a nation like the U.S. has to, like, it's tied to Israel. That's why they believe in an Israel first thing and make our politicians believe that. They believe that the state of the security of the United States is tied to the security of Israel and vice versa.
Well, yeah, I'm sure they believe that, but I mean, Americans don't have to believe that, and our government certainly doesn't have to believe that.
Yeah, but try getting them not to. That's the hard. That's
well, I don't, again, I don't know that we have. I don't know that there's been an administration or anybody in who's, who's even been. I mean, maybe since Kennedy, who's been like, yeah, we don't particularly give a shit one way or another, Yeah,
Nixon talked about that, and Jimmy Carter even talked about how because he brought up the Palestine thing. Now, of course, Jimmy Carter did it when he was an old man after he was already president, but he was like, it's taboo if you talk about it, and it's forbidden to address it if you're in Congress or anything else. And then Nixon called it what you don't understand about the Jewish lobby. Nixon basically said that, this is the same thing I just said about the security of the nation being tied to the other nation, and that they believe that that's why they have to get involved in any Israel war, because securing that nation is of the utmost importance. And,
yeah, I don't know how you can be an American politician and say that we have like one of the biggest poisons in the deep state in the United States government, our intelligence agencies, and then not directly shine a bat signal, a floodlight on Israel, whose number one export is foreign intelligence.
Yeah,
they don't make anything other than movies and spy shit. You know what I mean? Like, which also
they make good pickles. I like the pickles that Jews make.
You could also argue that the movies are part of the intelligence operation, right? So It's sort of all from the same It's all from the same production house, basically.
There's a 60 Minutes interview recently that the guy from Mossad was on, and they blacked out his face, did the whole shadow thing, but he said,
gave him the monster voice.
Yeah, but he said, we're the biggest production company in the world. We write
Mossad.
the script. Yeah, we write the script. We let you, and it's whatever we tell you it is. And you're like, damn, that's how come nobody else is covering this, right?
Right.
And I'm a firm believer in that the CIA doesn't have our best interests, the FBI doesn't have our best interest, the NSA doesn't have our best interest. So why would I think that a foreign intelligence agency
that's my point,
has our best interests?
Right, that's my point.
So
if our domestic intelligence agencies are conspiring against our government, what do we think a foreign one is doing?
But the reason that it's you're like, well, how can that be possible, or any of this stuff? And it goes back to the same thing with the black community. You're saying, well, the CIA flooded our streets with crack. They go, well, if they did it to the Asian community, do you think it would be the same effect? No, because you still got to smoke the crack.
Yeah.
Right? And they just betting on the fact that you're
the Asians wouldn't dare let it touch their opium business.
Well, yeah, but I'm saying that's one of the things that is if you're corruptible, then they're going to keep pushing the means of corruption. It's not there's no shortage of politicians or black ones, white ones, Jewish ones, Catholic, Christian, anyone that'll just take the money. And there's no shortage. And that's half of the problem. Nobody has enough balls and conviction to be like, no, I'm good with just my salary. We don't need this. Let's fix the country. None of them. Mm-hmm. And until that gets addressed, it's still going to be, well, it's the Jews, the Illuminati, the this, the that, the secret organizations and societies are still going to run things, right? The intelligence committee organizations are still going to, provide blackmail operations around the globe. The CIA is responsible for some of the worst atrocities that we know of as far as destabilizing countries. We're talking Venezuela, Nicaragua, El Salvador, Vietnam, North Korea. Dude, the China is our enemy for so long, has been such a CIA op that they got us to fight Korea over that shit. They got us to fight Vietnam over that shit. And it was almost as if we were like, yeah, we don't care what kind of Chinese. You guys are commies and Chinese. And we're like, yeah, but not. The big bad boogeyman that is China. And China has not had any of these wars to go into. And what have they done? They got passenger drones now. Literally Jetson shit. Right? It's they have a gang of manufacturing there, and that the rest of the world wants to be. And if you want to compete. We need to be taking steroids. We don't need to be, letting everybody else work out at the same time as us in the gym, right? We need to be taking steroids, and as far as the Americans go in our economy, and what we would do is the tariffs in theory are good, but they have to be strategic. Now this fool just wants to go. The tariffs that this fool just wants to go in is why don't we just? How much is this island paying for it? It was actually they don't really make shit, and they have to import stuff. He was 47% hike. And you're what for what? Some little fucking island. We don't even know what it is. What do they make? What do they import? What do they export?
Well, that's why you almost can't do it on a national basis with countries, because inside those countries there are particular industries where those tariffs could have the desired effect on the politosphere, and not the unintended effect of bleeding the American consumer to death, which is unfortunately something that they're not being strategic enough about at this point, right? But it's
dude, not only are they not being strategic enough, JD Vance came out and was listen, you're just going to have to deal with inflation and pay more in prices and stuff like that for this stuff to work.
And the American people aren't going to do that. They're just not going to spend.
Yeah, and they'll go, "Shut up, faggot, with your
Yeah.
fucking Indian wife. What the fuck? We didn't even want you. Like, what the fuck?"
Yeah.
He got picked because Elon recommended him to Trump in a meeting. That's why we have JD Vance. JD Vance used to work for the fucking he used to write for the Atlantic. And he did like hit pieces and shit.
I don't necessarily agree with that it was Elon. I think JD Vance being backed by the guy who owns Palantir is a much bigger factor.
But there was a specific meeting where he like name dropped him and told him like, no, this is the guy. He'll be a good pick and all that.
Yeah.
We should have Eric on and talk about that. That motherfucker knows all the Elon timeline when it comes to Trump.
Yeah, no, I think it would be a great way to put the people that are watching to sleep immediately.
Speaking of Eric,
and bring Eric on and fucking put everybody to sleep.
Speaking of Eric and midgets, you and I had seen something that our friend Vito had posted. And could not see it.
In fairness, I saw the story before I saw Vito's reaction to the story.
Well, I couldn't not see it.
But I almost like the second I saw
you knew Vito was
going to respond. I knew Vito was going to have a comment. But you know, we'll go all the way down to 9mm's post initially. And I just agree with 9mm where he's like, he basically says, lousy situation for this young woman. She seems nice, but any adult attracted to her shouldn't be allowed in society. And so anybody who knows this story, this chick has a reality show on TLC. And she has like the same kind of condition that Andy Milonakis has, where it's like there's like a block on
like a pituitary gland or something.
Yeah, it's like some kind of issue with it's like a glandular thing, but she's basically frozen in the body of like a 10-year-old girl. And she's like 30 now, I think, and smokes and drinks booze or whatever. And obviously, you know, what I think is so funny is you hear people go like, if you listen to her, she obviously has the intelligence of an adult female. I go, which isn't that much better than the intelligence of a 10-year-old girl. What are we talking about? Yeah. But you can watch a little clip of this. And by the way, the initial clip says, how I avoid pedophiles.
It's very easy to be prey in this world as a tiny little girl. And my parents taught me that from a very young age. They were like, look, any guy that's interested in you, any person that's interested in you, you have to read into them because there's a chance that it's about your size. I grew up.
All right, I'm going to read into them right now and tell you it's not about your size. It is about the fact that you are frozen in the body and the voice of a child, and you read into them. End of reading. It's not War and Peace. It's a pamphlet. If someone is interested in you, they are a pedophile.
The front says they are. The back says a pedo. That's the book.
There is no alternative, right? Like, and this reminds me of a joke. Yenzer and I were spitballing this concept, and neither of us have ever done it on stage. I might have done it once because he was like, I'll never do it. But he was like, you know the To Catch a Predator, you know how they have like a 26-year-old girl who's like one of these who like looks like a child, and
that's when that guy hit the jackpot.
That guy hit the pedophile lottery because she is like this, an actual adult woman, and that guy gets to go home and fuck her no problem. Yeah, like this girl is the pedophile lottery.
Yeah, that's the loophole dream that they're like. I bet these pedophiles just Google that disorder and they're like,
yeah. All right. Find me every influencer that is one of these.
But they get jobs in that wing of the hospital.
Yeah.
I'm like a nurse now, so.
Knowing that, and that was scary. I was scared to date. I was scared to like flirt with anyone. I was scared to even be asked out. Like when I was asked out on the cafeteria the first day, I was like, "Are you a predator?" I was like.
I love how the other woman's like, yeah, the answer is yes. The answer is yes.
And then fast forward to the
I can't say yes. I can't say yes. I was like,
what was the conversation like with your mom and your stepdad about dating?
How about no, Scott?
Yeah, that's what it was. It was how about you dummy?
How about you don't? How about you don't? So anyway, of course, so I see this clip, and then first of all, what I see second blows my mind, which is the comments. This first one, no, this is retarded. Sorry, I'm not going to call someone a pedophile for having sex with a tiny 30-year-old. Her parents also ruined her by being retarded. And I just want to point out, 1,000 likes. 1,000.
These are the same dudes who jerk off to anime.
It's just, and then this is a woman, I think. Am I the only one who doesn't see a kid? She looks like a grown-ass woman with some kind of aging disease. You put her in a classroom with 12-year-olds and she's going to stick out like a sore thumb. Yeah, she got baby features, but I still see a grown-ass 25-year-old. 2.9 thousand likes. I'm sorry. Am I the only person that just goes, listen, I'm sorry that this, it's like she might as well be Elephant Man to me. Where I just go like, hey, it's unfortunate, but you should die. If the world has any decency, you should die alone.
I will say this, though. You thought I was a pedophile because I said I wanted to fuck Jenna Ortega.
Yeah, but Jenna Ortega doesn't. Well, first of all, you are, and yes, you are. So, I mean, Jenna Ortega is not that much different than this situation. But I mean, like, this is worse though, because this girl is like, her face and body and everything is like not developed beyond that of a child.
Right.
You know what I mean? But like, yeah, Jenna Ortega is just a step above this. You're still a piece of shit.
I don't think so.
Oh, I disagree.
I seen her at some awards show with the black dress on. I say, who's that? And they're like, that's Jenna Ortega. I was like, oh shit.
Yeah, but the amount of people that are just going through, and then this guy Beardly Stone goes, this girl sucks. She met another guy with the same condition as her. He looked like a grown kid, but was a fireman, nice guy, and she completely friend zoned him. Yeah, that's the sad thing, is this girl now wants to be pedophiled. She now is like, I need a man who looks like he shouldn't be with me.
And then so my whole thing is like, when I seen Vito post this, because I looked at it and I go,
first of all, you knew Vito would respond. You know Vito would take this bait.
Vito's always like, I don't know why people call me a pedophile. Oh yeah. Because I quote post kid women.
Right. And I just go, I'd hit it. First of all, Vito, listen, man, the correct thing is just to put would. Okay, but like, I just want to point out, my would this year was Meghan Markle. Now that's controversial, I get it, but you know what no one's going to come along and tell me is that it makes me a pedophile.
Yeah.
And then of course, like, you know, all of our mutual friends and fans and stuff in the comments, no, Vito, not again. And he just all the time is like, I don't understand why people think I'm a pedophile. And it's like, well, it's because
straight up was like, I'm hit.
You can't refrain from these moments to be like, here's a chance to let my true self shine through.
Why? They're just jokes. Jokes.
But here's the thing: is like,
I can preserve her in time at that age all the time.
You and I talked about this. Wanting to fuck this girl actually makes you worse than a pedophile, because she's going to stay like that forever, whereas a child eventually grows up. And you know, I guess if you're a piece of shit, you start over with a new one. You know what I mean? But like, this one's frozen in carbonite. She's a child.
You know, she's going to be hot forever, unlike the other ones that don't get hot anymore. You know?
Yeah, they age out, and then you got to, I don't know, chop them, put them in a barrel with sulfuric acid. I don't know what they do with them, but you know, if I were to call back to some episodes of Dexter, I think it's something along the lines of what I just presented. But I mean, like, you know, and listen, and then somebody was like, hey man, you should probably put hashtag no kink shame so that nobody accuses you of kink shame. And I go, no, please accuse me. I'm going to continue to. And there's so many people who are like,
that's not a kink.
They're like, you're so dumb for this. Like, I can't believe you want to pretend she's not an adult. I go, I can't believe you want to pretend she is.
That's not a kink though.
And people
like if you ask me, like, if somebody asked you, what are your kinks? And you're like, dude, you know those chicks with fucking pituitary syndromes and they like are in
They
kid
look like
bodies, look
kids.
like
Yeah.
kids. That's my kink. And
You know what? You know what?
100% everybody be like, ew.
Wood chipper immediately.
Electric chair.
You know what it reminded me of? And here's how I know I wasn't a pedophile. I remember when I was a kid, and I was watching the movie Neverending Story, and they were like, the childlike empress. And I was like, why she got to be childlike? No empress needs to be childlike. Why is that the appeal of the empress? Why does she have to be a childlike empress?
Dude, that chick's gonna be so hot.
I was just like, no.
When she's the same age forever.
An adult empress will be fine. She doesn't need to be a childlike empress.
I think that's the most disturbing things you find out. That veto is just a subsect of the internet, and there's thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of goofies.
Yeah, this is an important thing to point out. Even if Vito is cosplaying as this guy, that is a real guy.
Right.
What we don't know is how much that guy is Vito, but that is a real guy.
That's a guy.
It's 2.9 thousand real guys that are in the comments like, she looks good to me.
Going back to Catch a Predator girl, right? She's like, I'll be down in a minute. That shit.
Yeah.
She's like, at the time was like 26 or something. It was just like, that was actually our lead investigator. She works for this company. She is actually 25 years old. She was posing as a 14-year-old boy. How do you feel about that? And they'd be like, well, I mean, I was here for the boy. Like that's how they like told on themselves and shit. But it's like these motherfuckers in the comments with thousands of likes are just like, that's a grown-ass woman, dog. And you're like, no, it's not. It's not. Because, going, not to always, shout out our friends Lila and Eric, but, they're tiny people.
Yeah, that's what
Eric is not a...
They're just calling this girl like a little person, and I'm like, no. We have a friend who's married to a little person, and that little person doesn't look like a child.
Yeah, and Lila's married to this little person named Eric.
And,
there's. I know people get like mad at me being so tall, and like I don't date tall women like that, and they'd be like,
yeah,
especially
I gotta be honest,
girls.
Well, one time you did date a tall woman, I just made an offhand remark to you, and it was like an episode of Seinfeld where it became a problem for you, and it festered where you were like, she is kind of tall, huh? And I was like, yeah, but I mean, like, it's fine. And you were like, I don't know if it is. Like you immediately
I
were
didn't notice. Like, I really didn't notice it because we were just like, things are going well, and then you're just like, hey, dude, what is she like? 5'9", 5'10"? I was just like, I don't know. I never cared to look and ask, but now I can't unsee it.
Yeah. I was just like, no. Like, I like a chick who's 5'9", 5'10", and I'm only 6 feet tall. Yeah, what do you don't like them to feel equal to you? Is that the problem?
Bro, if they put on 5-6 inch heels, then it's like a UFC stare down in a way. Okay, I want to go on a date. I don't want to go. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to have this fucking.
I'm gonna tell you right now. I don't like a bitch who wants to wear heels. So I don't need all that. Put on boots. I'm a boots guy. Put on boots.
Where are you going with boots?
Where you going with fucking high heels on? Probably
Places.
Fuck some other dude. Yeah, no, you ain't. Listen. Nowhere do I go. Do I enjoy? Are high heels required for anybody?
But boots, then, like, I feel like I'm in the Soviet Union or a punk rock show. Like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
Make sure you put on your army boots.
Yeah,
I like going out for a night on the town.
Doc Martens. I like her in Doc Martens. I like her in. She can wear Uggs.
Uggs.
I'm a basic white boy bitch who likes a chick in Uggs. I'm fine with it. I had to pretend for 12 years that I didn't think white girls in Uggs were attractive. Like, I had to be like, oh yeah, look at her, what a basic dumb bitch.
I don't have a problem with Uggs, but I think they're seasonal.
Yeah, I don't agree. I think the season is getting this dick. I think that's I think that's the season that they're for.
The season it's a little cold out. They're wearing like stockings and a skirt with some Uggs, that sort of thing.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm a leggings and Uggs kind of guy. I don't need no fucking dress and no high heels. What am I fucking? What are we going into the shabab shebang? I don't need none of that.
Going to the twist.
Yeah, I'm not. I ain't gonna be. It's the fucking high heels and dress. Get out. We're in.
I like a
dress.
Times. I like a dress.
I know heels. You do. You like.
I like. Hold on though. I like a
lipstick too.
I like a bitch in sandals. We're going to the beach. I like.
Yeah,
I like appropriate. I like weather.
Seasonally appropriate weather.
Yeah, dressing.
That means there's two speeds in California: Uggs and leggings, and shorts and sandals. That's it.
No, they don't even wear sandals here. They would just wear shoes all the time, sneakers.
Yeah,
all the time.
You know what that though? You know who we have to blame for that? Mexicans. Mexican girls be wearing Mexican girls be wearing Chuck Taylors every day.
And flannels.
Yeah.
You're like, what are we doing here?
They dress like I did in 7th grade.
I've said this before. There's a reason that Billie Eilish dresses like retarded like that. It's like all the girls in Los Angeles dress like retarded astronauts. And so like when you look at like they'll say like, oh, New York is so classy and sophisticated. They just know how, it was like, they know how to dress. It's like, y'all, it's fucking 70 degrees all the time here. So these bitches just go, I'll just throw all this on. It's like, they literally look like the Rugrats went into a closet. It just came out.
Yeah, that's what I used to say. I used
sweaters and fucking goofy shit.
They dress like a 3-year-old got into their mom's closet. I mean, I got this pulled up here so we can look at it, but these are Billie Eilish's looks.
Yeah, dude, that's how they dress in Los Angeles. Retarded astronauts. They look like they fucking were in some like makeshift Disney Broadway cast or something.
Yeah, look at these. First of all, the one on the far right is fucking Steven Van Zandt, who played. She's literally dressed like little Stevie from the E Street Band on the far right.
Fucking what is that?
Silvio Dante.
And then the rest of it is like, you see what I'm saying? All shoes, all the time.
Yeah, it's just like giant sneakers,
clogs, and goofy shit. Like
and then on the far left, I don't know what that look is, what that's supposed to be.
That's her at an award show.
Yeah, and then
that's her dressed up.
Yeah, these are all bad. And you know what? Like,
I looks like a fisherman from Dune.
I hate that.
There's no water.
This one, yeah. I hate to be like, I hate to be this fucking to say something this gay, but like, give me an afternoon with this chick and I'll fix her whole everything. Like, it's like you have ginormous tits and perfect porcelain skin. You're not hard to dress, so you don't look like a fucking retard. The reason that you dress like a retard is because you've convinced yourself that it's okay to have sex with your brother. And so your whole antenna.
Dude, she said she had a porn addiction at 12.
They used to jerk off in bed together and shit.
And you're just like, you guys shared a room together, didn't you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, their whole lives.
I've had a porn addiction since I was 12. You mean when you lived in your brother's room?
Until we were 20. Yeah.
You're like, okay, something ain't adding up here. It's like,
yeah. By the way, speaking of people who like to jerk off with their siblings, I don't know if you saw this. Continue though. I didn't want to interrupt you. I'm just trying to segue.
Do you think that she wears all that shit because she used to cut herself?
Yeah, definitely.
And she's like afraid you're gonna see like her cutter scars.
That's certainly a possibility. Speaking of people who jerk off in bed.
Oh my gosh.
I don't know if you saw this, but when Dick shared this the other day, I thought it was like a Fat Watch Photoshop. I thought like, oh yeah, one of Dick's fans really did a number on Lena Dunham to make her look like this oversized pig. And then I saw
measuring stick, and I was able to embrace aspects of who I truly.
What happened? Like, first of all, and I just want to say this. First of all, she looks like every below the line bitch in Hollywood. She looks like every head of development for every network ever.
I gotta be honest with you.
Like, if you have a meeting with a manager in Hollywood or a producer and she doesn't look like this, your movie's never getting made. You want your below the line women in Hollywood to look like this.
She definitely should have adjusted the microphone so it doesn't look like a pig nose. What are we doing here?
Yeah,
I don't know.
I don't know what Christopher Street project is, but it must be some kick-ass bakery.
It must be this. I thought they were trying to figure out what streets she was allowed to walk on anymore.
Oh my God. I mean, I legit thought it was photoshopped and it's not. And she was speaking about trans day visibility. And I was like, what is she transing into?
A blimp.
A hut?
She is definitely. Remember when she fucking got met?
I did say the funniest thing, though. I didn't think of it till like an hour after I posted the thing, but I said, she looks like she's eating my feelings.
Dude,
her girl, if my life's any indication, her girlfriend must have fucked so many black guys. Because this is, in my experience, that's how it happens. You know, your girlfriend fucks black guys, and then you can't stop with the Little Caesars for a couple months, and it sneaks up on you.
It sneaks up on you.
Yeah, it sneaks up on you.
They can't, man. I can't believe that the woman who accused Odell Beckham Jr. of not wanting her could possibly look like that.
Dude, Odell Beckham Jr. has an opportunity to do the funniest thing.
Just sue her?
No, just retweet it and be like, now y'all get it? Now y'all get it.
Is she just...
She said he was looking at her like she was some kind of wild animal, and I was like, yeah, that's how we're all looking at you now, sweetheart.
Yeah, where is fucking Timon?
What
Pumbaa?
species is this?
When I was a young warthog. She's a very large hippopotami.
Oh, it's awful.
I've never seen any of her work other than like.
You never watched Girls early years?
No, I couldn't be subjected to it. I've seen clips, and that was.
I think I watched the first couple of seasons. Because
wasn't she like a Nepo kid?
Yeah, they're all Nepo kids. All four of those girls are like the daughters of very famous, rich New York socialite people. Like her mother's like a very famous artist. Allison Williams, the other girl on the show, is the daughter of Brian Williams, the famous news anchor. Zasha Mamet is David Mamet's daughter. And then the other one, the British one, is like she's Jemima Kirk. She's like the daughter of some rich. She's like
Aunt Jemima's kid.
No, yeah. She's Jemima Jr. No, her parents are like the Duke and Duchess of some place. So she's like royalty or like related to royalty or something. So it's like, dude, it was insane. They're like, yeah, it's a bunch of like, blue collar millennial women just making their way through New York. Like, oh, is that what it is? Played by all elitist white bitches from the 1%.
We're girls and we know how to live in New York.
And listen, can I at least go out on a limb and say this? Judd Apatow has two daughters that work in show business, and they're nowhere near as insufferable as like Alina Dunham.
One of them got fined.
Yeah, Maud is
That's
a smoke
the one
show.
from Euphoria.
Yeah.
Yeah, she looked good.
She's gorgeous.
Well, that's because their mom is hot.
When she was young,
dude, I banged that bitch now.
But I'm saying when she was young, she was like a 10. I don't know. She was one of those people where you're just like, how did her career never take off as like a leading lady? And I think it's just because she's too kind of quirky and funny. You know what I mean? Like, but one of her biggest roles that people either remember or don't remember was she played Jon Stewart's fiance in Big Daddy.
Mm-hmm.
And, he just kept calling her Hooters all the time because she worked at Hooters.
But that's when she was the sister of what you call it, wasn't she?
Joey Lauren Adams.
Yeah, they have the same voice.
Oh yeah, I guess that's a good call out. I didn't
So,
even
like,
think the voices.
So the casting of that was just like, oh, of course they would. They have the same exact voice. And then Sandler was buddies with Apatow.
Yes, I know that. That's how she ended up in that movie.
But he was casting her and all that stuff. This is 40, Knocked Up, 40-Year-Old Virgin, like all these movies like that he did. He casted his wife in, which, more power to him. Why not?
But I'm saying, like, like Maude has her own production company and she's directing her own independent films and everything else. And it's not as sort of like, it's insufferably obnoxious Nepo baby type of movies and stuff that, like Lena Dunham was doing. And,
from the producer of Fat as Fuck comes, it's like, what does she do other than that? Have that show? Is she just eating those residuals?
I don't know. But I mean, when the show was on, everyone was talking about like Allison Williams. They're like, oh, she's obviously got an eating disorder. She's anorexic. Well, no, Lena was just eating her food every day.
They would go to lunch and she's just like, lay off me, I'm starving.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, what a ginormous bitch.
Ginormous bitches.
Yeah, there's a few of them on the internet. We'll cover this story and then we'll get the fuck out of here for the night. But
I saw a Reddit post that was like viral. I don't know how old it is, but I know it just made the rounds to my face, where a woman posted that her fiance kept asking about her like body count and how she was before them. She was like, when he met me, we were in a hoe. He knew I was in a hoe phase, but he didn't know to what extent. First of all, I would like to say there's no such thing as a hoe phase. You're just a hoe now.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you can't unfuck the dicks. Right?
Well, and I told you, and by the way, she wasn't like I went through a hoe phase and I had sex with like significant number of guys, but like on an individual basis over many years.
No,
it was
she
like,
literally, and he goes, so he kept prying, and so I finally told him
about the one night by 3 guys at the same time.
She said gangbang with 3 guys.
Yeah,
3 other guys, and you're
which is 4 too many for a gangbang. Yeah.
Which you gotta think that one of them, or some of them, or all of them, had to be black. Right?
Okay, because these are definitely black guys. White guys, you might find 2 white guys that are willing to fuck a chick at the same time. You're not going to find 3.
Right. 3 is like, 3. Come on, let me get that pussy. I don't care. It's dirty.
Is a guy who's just like, I don't even care if our dicks touch.
Yeah, dude, that's real.
That's a black guy. Doesn't care if their dicks touch. Like, my dick will never be in the same build. I don't even like that our dicks are in the same building as each other. Let alone would they be in the same room together with a woman naked.
Hey, it's cool, man. Just look that way so I can fuck this.
Yeah,
like that, man.
Our balls are gonna smoosh each other, and then he's like, "That ain't no problem. That ain't no problem."
What if she left out that part where he was like, "All right, 3 guys, cool. All right, I fucked 3 chicks at one time." And
well, she definitely left out the part that they were black.
Then she goes
to make the post.
Yeah, and then she goes, and they were black. He's like, the fucking wedding is off. Yeah, but that's not even the most audacious shit. The most audacious shit was, should I have just lied? Or maybe I should have just kept it to myself.
Oh, yeah,
because is he still processing it?
That made all the hair on the back of my neck stand up because I go, well, I can tell you what it's like when they decide that the lie is better for 12 years. I can tell you what that's like.
But dude, you immediately feel for the guy, and then you have this weird type of empathy where it's like, dude, I get it if you want to kill her.
100%. I've never understood a man wanting to kill his wife more than probably this guy.
Yeah. Whereas like normally you go like, dude, how could you hear a story and then you go, and he killed his fiance? You're like, damn, dude, guy was a psycho. And you're like,
and by the way,
let's hear the facts of this case.
I told you this is why I don't have a problem with sex workers. It's like you and I saying the N-word in public. You're not going to find no skeletons that are worse than what everyone knows I've done or said. That's what I like about sex workers. Is like, listen, all their worst shit is filmed and it's out there for consumption.
Well, I would say that Jesus is the when people try to be like, and we have a few friends that'll be like, ban porn, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Nobody defended hookers and whores and shit more than Jesus. In fact, his most infamous, let he who
lives without sin cast the
cast.
first stone.
He was protecting a hooker.
Yeah.
Like literally a street walking prostitute. He was protecting.
Mm-hmm.
And so like people forget all about that shit, and it's like,
which by the way, it means that Jesus was a lot more like Sam Tripoli than he was like Thor.
Oh fuck yeah, dude! Oh fucking this fucking Illuminati shit's out of control. Hey, what are you putting me on the cross for?
Yeah. No. Sam would never have been crucified because Sam would have never been dumb enough to turn his back on
the Pharisees?
Yeah. Why can't I think of his name? The one who betrayed the Jew who betrayed Christ. Yeah, Judas. Yeah, it would never turn his back on Judas.
Oh, this dude's gonna fucking kiss me. I know it.
Yeah, I would literally be like, "Oh, okay, everybody, Judas, I'm gonna need you to sit over there." What do you mean?
Tony Soprano just facing the door?
Yeah. Yeah, Judas is not at the Last Supper if Sam Tripoli is playing the part of Jesus.
Dude, fuck Judas! Don't let that motherfucker in the building, bro.
Yeah, dude. There was another situation like this too, with like these. You get a lot of these now trad wife sort of blogger moms or whatever. Did you see Matt Walsh continued that story we were talking about yesterday, where it was about the woman who was like, my husband doesn't do enough. He doesn't take the trash out or whatever.
Oh boy.
And he's like, this woman's going to get all these chicks divorced by their husbands. And you were telling me the story, like she didn't go on to tell you that she like basically does like mom blogging. And then he's like a lineman, like
he's a utility lineman who does mostly storm duty.
Yeah.
And he makes six figures, and then she was like, so do I. They have a nanny, a live-in nanny, a housekeeper, and a landscaper. He does his own laundry.
Yeah, I saw that. She refuses to do his laundry because he's an adult, is what she said.
So what mental load does she have other than the one she's thinking about taking down her throat?
Ugh.
The mental load is just like, is it the same as the physical load that's inside of you right now from other people? Because that could be the only reason you're ungrateful.
I mean, this is the thing you and I talk about all the time. Is like the amount of Nobel Peace Prizes that every man should get every day for not beating them to just a bloody pulp constantly.
This guy is a saint.
Yeah.
I mean, the fact that, and she was like, he's a great dad. He's great with our kids. He's mostly a good husband. We've been together since high school, cuz he could be out there with his 6-figure storm duty job, piping hose, bro.
Yeah.
And getting a chick who loves cooking, loves cleaning, goes, why are we spending?
She doesn't cook dinner. He also has to come home and cook dinner every night.
Yeah, she could be like, why are you doing that, baby? You worked hard. I'll cook all the meals. We don't need a nanny. I'll take care of these kids.
Yeah.
He doesn't have that because he decided to stay with this ungrateful bitch.
Well, and this is the thing that guys have to be aware of, not to go all manosphere for a second before we get out of here today, but like guys have to be aware of these liberal women who think they're going to cross over to the trad side. And they'll be like, yeah, you work and pay all the bills and everything else. And then what they don't do is they don't make with the trad. They don't suck and fuck.
You don't make with the trad.
Yeah. They don't make with the trad. They just think that they're going to get the trad man and then still be a boss bitch who don't have to deliver on anything. Not that I'm speaking from personal experience or anything, but
that is quite a conundrum, if I'd say. Because have you seen all these like there's these like liberal chicks that'd be like, I just want to farm in like Indiana.
Oh yeah, they're trying
Tennessee
or something. Yeah, they're trying to trap the good guys.
And you're like, oh yeah, who's gonna run it? Well, we'll probably have like slaves by then.
yeah, exactly. The answer is not her. You know what I mean? Like you said this when we were talking. You sent me this clip of Eliza Schlesinger being like,
"Oh my gosh,
I hate my kids and my nannies do all the work." Basically,
nannies. She has men raising them.
Ugh.
So as much as they were like, I love women, I hate men. But by the way, men raise my children.
Strange men raise my children instead of me.
What is a nanny? A gay nanny? They have to be gay? Is that one of the stipulations?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, what are the statistics that one of them touches kids? High or very high?
yeah. I think it's a million to zero.
There's a reason that women were like predominantly in childcare since forever.
Yeah.
It's because they have a less likely chance of molesting your kid than a
guy. Do you think back in the Village days they were just like, we're going on a hunt, we'll leave the children with the women, and then there was some Leroy who was like, I'll watch the kids, and then they just tomahawk in the head.
What? I gotta go out there. You guys are all doing that. I'll just stay back and watch the kids. Bye.
It's like that movie Year One where Michael Cera's gathering with the women while the other guys are all hunting. He's out there picking berries and putting them in baskets and shit. That's what we're talking about. That's a Manny.
That's a Manny Pacquiao, right? That's how he even has that name. He's the only one that went and did it, because like the Philippines is like that. They send their women out to do work in the States and shit like that, and the men just stay home and be like caretaker losers.
Yeah.
And so that's how Manny Pacquiao, like, you know, rose to the top, just beat the shit out of people with his hands. It's like, oh my God, he's the best in the world. He's the greatest. Look what he does for our countries.
I want to share this with the people before we get out of here. Guys, 4 dates coming up for America Strikes Back tour. We got Los Angeles in a couple weeks now. It's literally like just a little over 2 weeks away. Boca Raton, April 30th, Pittsburgh, May 17th, Detroit, June 21st, and some more dates to come. So get your tickets over there immediately and come see us do stand-up this summer. And myself, these shows, myself, Anthony Cumia, Gavin McInnes. We got some other ones coming with some other people here soon, too. So, yeah.
And he had that button, which I don't know what that means, but I know you can click on. So, there he goes. You got out of there?
I'm back. Yeah, I swiped myself somehow. Anyway. So
I was just about to say the plug with the. I was just going to say the link and just say it out loud.
Go ahead.
Right, the censored TV, censored.tv/tour.
You can also go patreon.com/the Big Uglies podcast. Support the show over there. We appreciate it. It's just like putting a little coin in our pocket as a thank you for doing the show. If you like the show,
you guys can go out and on, and we'll stay back and watch the kids. What?
Be pretty good. And by the way, if you like pedophiles and you think there's nothing wrong with fucking a 30-year-old chick who looks like a child, tune into The Biggest Problem in the Universe right now, which is on right after our show. Thanks, everybody. Have a great weekend.